The engineer's Crucible. The recycled air in Jasper Kovacs's modest quarters on Yggdrasil felt thin, stagnant, an insult to the vast, open void just beyond the viewport. He paced, a restless tiger in a cage far too small, his heavy work boots thudding softly against the metalloid deck. A summons. The digital message from Human Resources, terse and polite, had arrived an hour ago. Management review scheduled for 0800 tomorrow. Your presence is required. A talk. Not a conversation. A talk. He knew the polite smiles, the veiled accusations, the carefully constructed phrases about team cohesion and adherence to protocol. It was the same dance every few months, a ritual designed to wear down, to conform. The present frame timeline was 2356. Jasper ran a hand through his thinning dark hair, a bitter taste in his mouth. He knew his reputation, brilliant, yes, but abrasive, confrontational, a troublemaker. His ideas were too radical, his vision too sweeping for NAAA's increasingly conservative management. Dusty. His glorious project on Dusty, the culmination of everything he believed, and here he was, still being dragged before the Inquisition. He imagined Chief Astrid Vinter II's perfectly composed face, her eyes assessing, dissecting. He wondered if she truly understood the cost of innovation in this rigid system. He stopped at the viewport, gazing out at the distant, glittering Yggdrasil, a testament to his own kind of ambition, yet also a symbol of the very bureaucracy he despised. The station hummed with life, a constant reminder of the thousands of souls, many of them his own team, dependent on his division's mining operations. His people. They were not just numbers on a manifest. They were individuals, specialists, engineers, drones operators, miners. They worked hard. They took risks. They deserved better than the short-sighted dictates from comfortable offices on Earth or, worse, from the executive suites on Yggdrasil itself. His stubbornness was not just a personal flaw. It was a shield for them, a bulwark against the tide of corporate mediocrity. A deep sigh escaped him, heavy with years of frustration.
Why?
Why the space industry? Why NAAA? He remembered the cold, dark winters of his youth, the stark, beautiful landscapes of his ancestral lands. The dreams of engineering, of building, of shaping the future with his own hands. Not this endless politicking, this constant battle against mediocrity. He had seen the early promises of space, the bold pronouncements of boundless opportunity, the vision of true independence. He had read the old texts, seen the archival footage of humanity's first tentative steps into the void. Instead, he found endless layers of management, committees, risk assessment, and profit margins. Every innovative spark seemed to be smothered by a mountain of paperwork and a chorus of cautious voices. His mind wandered, not to pleasant places. He thought of Silas Thorne, the corporate raider from Omnicorp, a man whose ruthlessness was almost admirable in its directness. At least Thorne fought openly, for his own gain. NAAA management, by contrast, fought for stagnation, for the comfort of the status quo, cloaked in platitudes of efficiency and safety. Jasper knew his own temper, his tendency to speak uncomfortable truths, to call out inefficiency where he saw it. His heritage, perhaps, played a part, a stubborn streak that refused to bend. The British temper his grandmother used to call it, though his roots stretched far to the southeast, lands that knew both stubbornness and fierce independence. He thought of the resilience of his ancestors, their ability to wring life from harsh lands, a trait he found himself emulating in the sterile confines of NAAA. He poured himself a glass of filtered water, his hands trembling slightly with repressed anger. The truth was, he loved the challenge of the void. He loved the raw, unforgiving honesty of physics. He loved the process of shaping rock, of building the future, of seeing his drones swarm into elegant, purposeful formations. It was the people, the endless, suffocating layers of people, who made it a curse. He recalled his first mission, a simple asteroid survey that had gone sideways due to faulty equipment approved by a cost-cutting committee. He had improvised, salvaged the mission, and received a commendation, but also a stern warning about not exceeding parameters. It was a pattern that repeated endlessly. His attempts to implement modular autonomy in smaller-scale NAAA projects had been met with endless delays, funding cuts, and further review committees that seemed designed to bury innovation. He thought of the recent incidents. The solar claim jumpers in 2353, where NAAA, under Chief Astrid Vinter II, had to fight tooth and nail against Omnicorp's blatant piracy. The unsanctioned network in 2354, a digital plague that threatened solar system stability. Each time, NAAA's central management had been reactive, slow, paralyzed by internal divisions. It was the engineers, the drone specialists, the people like him, who ultimately solved the problems, pushed the boundaries, took the risks. Yet, management claimed the credit, then stifled the very innovation that made it possible. He saw the hypocrisy, the inertia, the sheer waste of human potential. Dusty. That little asteroid had been his salvation, his crucible. He had taken a joke of an assignment, a cosmic backwater, and transformed it. His universal space drone concept, the self-replicating factory, was working. It was efficient. It was exceeding quotas. It was building. But it was unbudgeted, unauthorized, and therefore an affront. His success was his greatest crime. The deep satisfaction of proving them wrong, however, was a potent fuel. He pictured the automated repair drones swarming the microfracture, sealing it before any human even knew it existed. That was efficiency. That was the future. He clenched his jaw. He knew tomorrow's talk would be about control, about oversight, about the NAAA Oversight Committee that Chief Astrid Vinter II had imposed on his deep space autonomous manufacturing division. A necessary evil, he conceded, a way to keep his project active. But it was still a leash, a reminder that his autonomy, his vision, was always subject to review by people who rarely understood the intricacies of deep space engineering. He suspected that the chief, though formidable, might be influenced by the same political pressures that always seemed to derail genuine progress. He wondered if even she truly grasped the full implications of a truly autonomous manufacturing ecosystem. His thoughts turned to his team on Dusty. Alara Thorson, Marcus Bell, Lena Petrova. They were good people. Loyal. They believed in his vision, in what they were building. He regarded them as his own. Not a possessive ownership, but a fierce, almost paternal, protectiveness. He would protect them from the short-sightedness of NAAA management, from the bureaucratic compromises that would inevitably dilute their work, dull their ambition. His stubbornness was not just for his own glory. It was for them, for the purity of the project, for the integrity of the science. He envisioned their faces, their excitement, their shared belief in Dusty's potential. They saw beyond the spreadsheets, beyond the protocols. They saw the future. He began to rehearse his arguments, pacing faster. He would be calm, meticulously so. He would present his data, his undeniable efficiency metrics, the clear benefits of his self-replicating factory. He would highlight the cost savings, the enhanced resilience, the unprecedented speed of development. He would show them the future, a future they were too timid to embrace. He would defend his methods, his people, his vision. He would argue, he would push, he would challenge. Because that was who he was. An engineer, a builder, a visionary, constantly at odds with the very system he served. His life choices, for better or worse, had led him here, to the cutting edge of human expansion, eternally locked in a battle with those who preferred the comfortable, dusty past. It was an awful existence, full of frustrating compromises. But take it away? Then he would truly have nothing to complain about, and that was a fate worse than any management review. The Scandinavian bug, that compulsion to make things better, to endure, to excel even in adversity, was deeply ingrained. He could grumble, he could curse, but he would never give up. Not when the potential was so vast, the future so close. He looked at the digital clock. Almost midnight. He had a few hours to prepare his arguments, to sharpen his resolve. The fight would be a long one. But Jasper Kovacs, in his own difficult way, was always ready for a fight. He would make them see. He would make them understand. He would make them shine, even if it was just to spite them. His legacy, after all, would not be found in committee reports, but in the hum of self-replicating machines, tirelessly building humanity's future among the stars.